Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Gurusha and coming to you from the Hunter Valley. And it's a beautiful sunshiny day and there's lots of people out. And one of the things I want to touch base with you about today is that starting to move out of the house and coming back to what's a normal life. But before we do that, I just like to start these sessions with a little meditation, just something to bring us right here, right now. So if you'd like to make sure that you're sitting comfortably and lightly closing the eyes or just having them downcast, whatever feels right for you. And tune into your breath. Just becoming aware of the breath as it flows into and out of the body. It's that rhythmic flow that you're familiar with. It's with you every moment of every day. Now bringing your breath comfortably to a count of between 3 or 5 for both the inhalation and the exhalation. So in yoga, we call that a rhythmic breath, equal inhalation and exhalation, whatever count feels comfortable for you. It's important to breathe with no strain. And as your breath settles into that gentle count, placing your hands over your heart. Feel into the rhythm of your heart beating underneath your hands. Breathing in and out, feeling the rhythm of your heart. And now allow your heart to guide you to something that you feel grateful for or appreciate. Whatever that might be. And feel that appreciation in your heart and in your body. Noticing how you feel that appreciation. Noticing how that feels in your body. And now, think of something unpleasant. Let your mind drift to something, a difficulty or something unpleasant, an unpleasant thought. And feel that in your heart and in your body. And notice what that feels like in your body. Take another deep breath, slow in and out. And once again, let your heart guide you back to that feeling of appreciation, something that you feel grateful for. It can be the same thought that you had before, or it can be something different. Just allowing yourself to feel that experience of appreciation once again. Feeling it in your heart and in your body. Now, if you have this feeling of connection with your heart, you're feeling the beating of your heart underneath your hand. Ask yourself the question, how do I feel? And then another, what do I need? appreciating the answers that you receive for their wisdom and holding them in your heart. Now lowering your hands, coming back to the awareness of your body as it sits or lies or whatever you happen to be doing at the moment. And gently becoming aware of your surroundings, the environment around you, and opening your eyes. Now my challenge here is I can't see who's with me. I know there's some people with me, so if anyone would like to say hello in the chat box, there's the idea behind this, this interaction is that there will be some toing and froing, but it looks like we're going to have to do it within the chat box. I'm not sure that I can actually, let me click on participants and see if I can see who's with us all. You're all muted, and I think that's sort of how it needs to be at the moment. Okay, so I've got Amanda and Kari and Julie, Sangeeta, Rosilla and Wendy. Welcome everyone. Topic of conversation this morning, and it is more a conversation than anything, though it'll be a chat box conversation from your end, is about this whole thing of things getting back to normal. We've been sitting in our rooms for the last couple of months, and probably my favourite metaphor for what's been happening at this time is that Mother Nature has given us a bit of a spank on the bum, told us to go to our room and to think about what we've done. And while we're in there, to, when we're reflecting, to come out ready to apologise and to, with the intention of not doing it again. So we'll have to see how that comes out worldwide. But what we're going to look at today is what the experience of being in your room has been for you. You know, when we reflect on the word normal, it's our own experience and something that we've created for ourselves, which doesn't necessarily mean it's always been in our best interests. And looking at the idea that this is a chance for newness in our life. I came across something yesterday that I loved, and one of the sentences in it is that nothing could be worse than a return to normality. That in the past, in history, pandemics have been the opportunity to make change, because a pandemic is like bringing us to our knees and saying something has to change. And we've certainly seen the effect of the time in our room for nature. You know, the water is blue in the canals of Venice again, and the dolphins are swimming and jumping. The bird life has increased. There's blue sky over cities that, you know, have been covered and shrouded in pollution for many years. Here in my little home suburb at Redhead, the butterflies and the dragonflies are just everywhere. And, you know, I just haven't noticed them to that extent before. So nature is reveling in our time in the room. And I guess I wanted to find out what it is that you've reveled in this time. What has been, I'm just going to see if I can, I've had some people say hi to me and I'm trying to read that. What has been the silver lining in your COVID-19 cloud? What have you taken from this experience? What changes have you made in your life? So Amanda said it's been a time for slowing down and connecting with her family and home. Julie said she's loved lockdown. And somebody's enjoyed not having any of the white noise of the external world. time in the garden for Julie. So look, how we spend our time is a choice, and often we don't feel that we have choice. We feel that our circumstances and all of the expectations that surround us, not just surround us, come from within us as well, dictate how we have to use our time. So for me, I found this enforced time of stopping a real blessing, because it was only in the release of all of those expectations that I discovered that it wasn't really about anything that was happening around me. It was all happening inside of me. I had all the time in the world and nobody expected anything from me. So how was I spending my time? Was I actually spending my time with the things that I thought that I would do if I had more time? So it's been a real time of reflection for me, and an opportunity to work through some stuff and realize that I actually have more power and control over my choices than I thought I did. That my circumstances don't dictate them to the degree that I thought they did. And what I wanted to offer to you this morning as a question is, what is it that you want to take into your new normal? As the restrictions start to lift and we start to move out into the world and be able to go back to the things that we were doing before. What is it? You can think about it in terms of what you don't want to do, and then later we can turn it around to make it a positive thing. Or you can think about whether in that time you've discovered old habits again, old hobbies, or made a new hobby. Maybe some people have been cooking. Some people have been decluttering. I think the op shops are going to do really, really well once they open back up again. Certainly, we just had a garbage or a house cleanup here in my suburb of Redhead, and the streets were full, much fuller than ever I've seen a home cleanup, because everybody's had time to give everything a good work through and make choices about what they want in their environment and what they don't want, what they need and what they don't need. Other thing that's been lovely here is seeing families out exercising together. So often now exercise is an organised thing. We go to the gym, or it's an organised sport and there's training 3 times a week. But to see the whole families out on their push bikes here, or the whole family out walking their dogs, has been really lovely. So if you can type into the chat box one thing that you would like to take with you moving forward, that you feel will be difficult to do so. Needs to be something that you will find challenging. That if life went back to normal, it probably wouldn't happen. Amanda's saying that she's going to be more selective with the way she uses the time, and she intends to only say yes to the invitations that excite her. Yeah. And continue to connecting with her family. Julie wants to be as relaxed as she was in lockdown. And Rosilla is saying ditto to Amanda's. Too many social and community expectations. Because it's interesting, when we're dealing with expectations, it's not the actual event, it's how we will feel if we don't say yes. Our worry about what other people will think about us, what we might be missing out on. FOMO, I think they call that these days, the fear of missing out. Kari's going for double ditto to Amanda. Now, it's not always easy to make these changes, because good intentions and the intellectual intention is a very, very small component of what decides whether we actually follow through the things that we want to do. I heard recently, it said that 95% of everything we do in the day is a subconscious reaction. That means it's not a conscious thought. We just do it. So what we're dealing with when we're trying to make changes is not just the 5% conscious component that determines our behavior, that says, yes, this is a really good idea and I want to do it. It's that part that lies beneath the surface that we don't see. And in our subconscious sits a whole lot of inner rules that are based on our experiences from the past. And we develop those rules primarily because this is how we're wired as humans, to stay safe, be that physically safe or emotionally safe. And so what I would like to share with you today is a new practice that I came across probably about, gosh, what is it, 7 or 8 months ago now? And it's called Aroma Freedom. And it is a practice that relies on a number of schools of psychological thought. It's actually developed by a clinical psychologist in America called Dr. Ben Perkis. And it works on the premise that our sense of smell is one of our fundamental means of survival. We choose a partner with it in nature. We choose our food with it. We're repelled by food that smells off. We know it's not good for us. We're attracted to food that smells good. We have the same attraction and repellent to partners and mates. So procreation and food, basic survival. Now, our olfactory nerve connects to our limbic brain, which is known as our memory center. It's where we develop our memories are stored of our experiences. And the reason we create memories is to predict future behavior. It's got nothing to do with the past. It's to inform us on what is safe to do into the future. It also, our olfactory nerve connects directly to the amygdala, that part of our brain, which is our survival response. And triggers whether we're going to run away or hide or stand and fight, and creates that, as I talked in my last session, that release of cortisol in the body to prepare the body to do whatever it needs to do to stay safe. So that means our sense of smell is really important in relation to our memories. And what happens is, in this 95% mix, really those rules are based on those experiences on which we've formed memories about what's safe and what's not safe. So when we're confronted with something in life that is challenging or upsetting, it is usually triggering back to a memory that has a similar experience, a similar feeling to it. Now, what Aroma Freedom does is it uses our sense of smell to bring those memories to the surface and to introduce a new smell to that whole experience. Our memory, we call them the memory complex, and that has 4 components. It usually has a thought, that voice that tells us this is not safe or it is safe. It has an emotion, a feeling. We feel that within our body, so it has a body sensation. And then usually a memory or an image component of it. So that's the 4 parts. With this technique called Aroma Freedom, what we do is we bring all of those components to the fore, and then inhale special blends of oils, particular oils that are very high grade therapeutic oils, because we're breathing them straight into our brain in effect, to change the the way that memory is recorded within the mind, to change the experience of it, the emotional charge to it. And in psychology, this is called memory reconstruction. And if we can target the feeling and the thought and the image correctly, then the effect is immediate and it's permanent. It sounds like a bit of a magic thing, but it's actually really, really simple and gentle, but incredibly effective. So what I wanted to do today was just explore that practice with you. Now, with this practice, and I might just talk to I'm very lucky, I have a background person who is doing everything for me and organising everything. And I'm just going to ask her, Kate, is it possible for me to unmute one of our participants?
I'll just have a look. If we go to attendees, which I might be able to do it from this end.
Yeah, because I can't seem to do it from my end. So apologies,
okay.
Everyone, while we sort this out. I should have asked Kate about this earlier.
That's okay. Which participant would you like to talk to?
Rosilla.
Okay.
And look, I'm happy for all there's only 8 of us. I'm happy if you can release the videos on everybody. It just feels a little bit more interactive if I can actually see people.
As long as everyone's aware that they realise they're going live onto YouTube.
Okay, can anybody put into the chat box if you would not like to be live on YouTube?
Can you hear me now, Mary?
Yes, I can, Rosilla. So Julie wouldn't like to be. Kari doesn't have her camera working, so it doesn't sound like this is so leave it as it is. Can we see Rosilla?
Okay. Let's have a look more. Rosilla, can you click on start video? On your screen there'll be a part.
I don't have the normal video capability on my Zoom. I only have audio.
Okay, well, we'll just continue on the way it is, I think, Mary, if that's okay.
All right.
Audio is fine, I think.
So we'll just go as if we're on the other end of the phone, Rosilla. Okay. So
yep.
One of the other aspects of this this practice that Dr. Perkis has developed is being very specific about the oils that we use for the practice and the importance of them being of a very high grade. He specifically uses Young Living oils and particular blends within Young Living. And for the reason that they have gone to great lengths to make sure that these oils are 100% guaranteed pure. They have their own farms, they make sure they're extracted without any solvents, and there's no synthetic constituents. They're 100% pure. So, and that whole process from when the whole growing process to the harvesting, to the extraction, to the bottling is very well monitored. And they've also got a lot of sustainable practices in place. So having worked with Young Living for over 20 years, Dr. Perkis has requires that we only use this practice with Young Living oils. I wasn't sure that we would have anybody today with Young Living oils, so I've asked my friend Rosilla to join me on the other end for me to walk her through a practice, a demonstration of what is called the Aroma Freedom technique. How are you going, Rosilla?
Yeah, good. I have my oils ready as you.
Great.
You
so what
me
we do is we actually, one of the main remedies that we use is called Memory Release Blend. And it is a combination of lavender, frankincense, and a blend in Young Living called Stress Away, which has a number of different oils in it. Very important one of which is vanilla, which is very hard to get. So equal portions of these 3 oils, or blend and 2 oils, come together into what is called the Memory Release Blend. And so we will start with that today, and then we may use some others. The others that we use are called Trauma Life or Inner Child, Transformation and Belief, and they come into play at different stages in the practice. So what we're doing, and I mentioned the memory complex, so what I'm going to do is guide Rosilla through first setting a goal, something that she wants to achieve, and couching this in the terms of that she is actually doing it, so that there is it's positively couched. It's important, if we felt that we could do something, we wouldn't need to use this technique to do it. So it is generally a goal that feels really challenging, that feels like it's in a way unattainable. Maybe something that we've been wanting to do for a long time, and with all of the best intentions, it still hasn't happened. So when you say your goal to yourself, there's usually an emotional response to that. And you can feel in yourself whether or not that feels like you can do it. And so I'll ask Rosilla to say on a scale of 1 to 10 how achievable that goal feels, because of the difficulties it may present to her in doing it or achieving it. From there, we identify the one-word feeling that that brings up, that the goal brings up for her. And from there, where that feeling is, she is experiencing that feeling in her body. And then drifting back to a memory of when she has felt like this before, which can take us to anywhere in that 95% of our subconscious. I think of it as a mental filing cabinet. And there's a lot in our mental filing cabinet. And sometimes the memories that pop up can be completely out of context for what we might think on a conscious level. And then we'll work around in that circular process for as long as we need to, until Rosilla is feeling more comfortable with her goal, and then we'll move on to setting an affirmation with it. So that's the process that we're going to follow today. So Rosilla, have you got any sense of what it is that feels difficult, but you would really like to do?
Well, it's like what I have been typing in the chat box. I've really enjoyed just not doing very much. Before lockdown, actually, when we started lockdown, I remember feeling a huge sense of relief that I could take a break from my business networking and having to attend a lot of social functions that my family expects me to. It's not that I don't enjoy them. Sometimes you just don't want to have to go to these things without having an excuse like I'm too sick or I have something else.
Yep.
Sometimes I just don't want to.
Yep.
Just want to spend more time at home. I've really enjoyed spending more time with my 15-year-old son during these 2 months. And as you were talking, just when you're talking, I realized that I really want to continue to prioritize my time with him rather than fit him in between all these other expectations that people have of me. And of course, the business part is important because I still need to earn a living. But a lot of community and social things, well, I'm wishing that I can be stronger about saying no to those.
Okay. So how would you like to couch that as a goal, Rosilla?
there was something that Amanda said that really resonated with me just now. I think she said, I want to be more selective with the way I use my time and to only say yes to the invitations that excite me. That sounds,
Okay.
yeah, I think that's good if we go along that line to set boundaries on what's important to me in terms of yeah.
So what
How I
would your
use my
goal?
time.
What is your goal?
I think my goal would be to be clearer about how I spend my time, to be clear about what's more important in how I spend my time.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps something like that.
Okay. So I am clear.
Yeah.
I'm prioritizing my time.
About how I choose to spend my time. I'm clear about how is that okay?
Yeah, it's great. It's your goal. So I'm clear on how I choose to spend my time.
Yeah.
Does that sit well for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you say that goal to yourself now, Rosilla, on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being I have, this is, now I'm just trying to remember I'm having a mental block here on my, zero being you don't feel like it's achievable at all, and 10 being I feel totally confident. Where do you sit on that scale in relation to this goal?
Well, the thing is, I know how I want to spend my time. It's whether I'm able to.
So maybe we need to rework the goal a little bit.
Yeah.
I spend my time as I choose.
Yes. Yeah, that makes more sense because I know how I want to spend it. It's whether I will have the strength to do what I want rather than do what's expected of me. Yes. So I
how I spend my time.
I choose how to spend my time. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the one you said before. I spend my time the way I choose.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I like that better.
Time the way I choose. So on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being this doesn't feel at all possible, to 10 like I've totally got this, where are you sitting on that scale?
I think like a 1. It's really hard because I've got family that expects me to do a lot of things.
Okay.
Probably like a 1.
So what is the negative voice that tells you this is not possible? What is it saying?
I'll feel guilty about not.
What's the voice saying?
Sorry?
So the voice is saying I'll feel guilty?
Yes.
Okay. And
I'll feel guilty about not doing what's expected of me.
Okay. And so what's the one word feeling that it brings up?
Well, when I think about it, I'm doubtful that I can achieve it.
Okay. So what's the one word? So the feeling is doubtful?
Yes.
Okay. So just holding on to that feeling of doubt, whereabouts do you feel it in your body?
In my chest.
Okay. Now I want you to close your eyes and just allow your mind to drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way.
Yep.
In the first memory or image that pops up, you have something?
Yep.
Good. All right. Now picking up your memory release blend and just placing a drop in one of your palms. rubbing your hands together and then cupping them over your nose, over your face, and just inhaling into that memory, into the image that came to mind. Just inhaling into that feeling, the sensations of the body, and noticing what happens. If there's any change in the intensity of the feeling, just ride with it. Emotions are like waves. They all come to an end. When you feel as if something has shifted, and there is no time frame here, you take as long as you need, but if you notice something shifts in the image itself or in the feeling within the body, just letting me know when that occurs.
Well, I started with just the memory of, my family, like I said, expecting me to attend certain social functions. And then when I started breathing the oil, I remembered that not long after I moved to Sydney, my mom was visiting. She was staying at my sister's place. And of course, everybody was going to see her as soon as possible, but I was very stressed. I have a long commute from work and I don't get home till late. And I remember my sister calling up and saying, "Why haven't you come to visit her?" And I felt really guilty about it. But as I breathed in the oil, well, you can't see me because I was really slouching before, but as I breathed the oil, I was just sitting up straight and straighter, and my chest feels a lot better. Like my posture's I'm just sitting up really straight now instead of slouching over like before.
And what happened to the image?
I don't feel, I remember it now. I'd forgotten about it.
Almost, okay. It's faded away.
The guilt isn't so strong anymore.
Okay. So let's go back to your goal now and just touch base. I spend my time the way I want to. On the scale of 0 to 10 now, where do you find yourself sitting? 0 being this isn't possible, 10 is completely confident.
Well, the number 4 just popped up. I didn't even think about it. I just thought 4.
Great. All right. So from number 4, what is the negative voice that is still telling you that this is not possible?
It's very hard. That's what I keep thinking. It's very hard to say no.
Very hard to say no. And how do you feel when you hear this voice?
Well, I agree with the voice. I feel
a feeling word.
Still a bit of doubt about my goal.
Okay, so it's hard to say no. So what the voice said is it's hard to say no.
Yes.
How does it feel to hear that?
I feel nervous.
Okay, and whereabouts in your body do you feel nervous?
Still in my chest. I feel something in my chest.
Okay. So lightly closing your eyes now and just allowing yourself with connecting to that feeling and body sensation, drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way. Just noticing the first memory or image that pops up, recent or long ago.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on that memory of not going to see my mom when she arrived. I think it's
Okay.
still there.
Okay. So do you want to pick up your inner child oil?
The child.
And breathing it into that memory. Kate, I think I'm going to go a little bit over here. Is that a problem?
Hello. I'm actually not quite sure. I'm not sure. Sometimes Michelle is only paid for a certain amount of time. So I actually can't answer you without waking her up, and I don't want to.
No, don't do that. It's all right. We'll work it out.
Okay, no worries.
Now breathing into the oil now, Brazilla. Breathing into that image.
Yeah, I realized that I don't have to feel guilty.
So is that the
because,
thought?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is I'm breathing my oil.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to feel bad or guilty about what I did. And I mean, I had a reason. I had reasons for not being able to do that. And I did get to see her eventually. But I realized that I felt guilty because of my family's expectations about what I should do.
Yes. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, we're at the end of the time for this session. So I'm actually going to continue to work with Rosilla to make sure that we finish this process. Everybody. So she's not going to be left hanging. But so please don't be worried about that. I'm just going to very quickly share my screen with you to give you some contact details. And also, if you're interested in finding out more about Aroma Freedom and Young Living Oils, this is now going to come up in the video replay. And you'll be able to come back to it on the Mind Medicine site where you registered and get these details and find out more about Young Living Oils and Aroma Freedom. You can also send me a personal message if you would like to just have a conversation about it. And if you give me your number, I'll give you a ring straight back. So thank you very much for being with us today. My apologies for the poor time management. And look forward to when we next connect. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Mary.
Rosilla, I'll
everyone.
give you on Messenger, okay?
Okay.